In this episode of the East West, aka Enamul Haque, and Philip Shaw discussed the future of cryptocurrency in today's world. They also explained to you how cryptocurrency and digital currency are different, and their link to digital wallets for you.
Hello, everyone. We are here with a new episode of East West, again with Philip Shaw, my friend from Canada, and I'm Enamul Haque from Bangladesh. This month, we want to discuss the new topic. We have been discussing COVID for quite a few episodes, but within this same time frame, there is a new changes in the currency, and the cryptocurrency has gained some strength, quite a lot of value it has gained from almost $200 to $40,000 per Bitcoin. Bitcoin is one of them. So I think it is time for all of us to have a look at it and understand this Bitcoin or cryptocurrency for all of us. So Phil, what is your take on this rise in the price of the Bitcoins?
Well, thank you, Enamul. I'm Philip Shaw, talking to you from Dresden, Ontario, Canada. And I find it particularly interesting, the idea of cryptocurrency. I think that initially, when you think about money, whether you live in Bangladesh or Indonesia or Malaysia or Zimbabwe or Brazil or Canada, you think about money and how we all try to get enough money to do what we have to do with. And for a large segment of people in the world, there's always a problem of foreign exchange where you have to convert your local money, your local currency, into harder currencies in order to make exchange of goods across international borders and things. And I've been in places in some parts of the world where there's a huge black market for American dollars and maybe Canadian dollars too. People see me on the streets that want to exchange for their local currency. So foreign exchange has always been an issue, whether you live here or whether you live in other parts of the world. So the idea of a cryptocurrency where that is not backed by a central bank, when I first heard about it, like Bitcoin is one we're talking about today, but there's other cryptocurrencies as well. I just thought it was incredibly hard for me as an agricultural economist to get my mind around how that might work. For instance, Bitcoin is actually mined, and now it has a value that's shooting up. And Elon Musk has invested a lot of money into Bitcoin. And so the idea of how this might work has frankly been a little bit beyond me. And typically when I think about these things, and I was in Bangladesh last year, I asked Enamul about this, how he feels about Bitcoin. And, we at the time we talked about it, and you really have to think about exactly what money is and what's it used for, and the perceived value in paper money, whether it's exchanging Bangladeshi taka on the streets of Dhaka or Canadian dollars on the streets of Dresden. It holds value for the moment. So how would that work for the cryptocurrency, which essentially is not backed by a central bank? And what Enamul and I talked about at that time was just the simple fact that it'll probably come into the mainstream at a certain point, especially in parts of the world that might have more trouble with hard currency exchange and things like that. However, it's certainly got a lot more buzz lately in the financial capitals of this world, as well as in East Asia and South Asia to some extent. And I just thought that it's something that we need to take seriously and something that we should chat about. So I don't know if you thought very much about this, Enamul, but it certainly would have wide application for you as an economist in Bangladesh.
No, I think, Phil, we did discuss about it. And I think one of the reasons that people have proposed the idea was to get out of the regulatory frame of the central banks, because central banks do control currencies. And original idea of the cryptocurrency was to get out of it. And that actually alerted a lot of governments, because this also could be a strategy to hide out money from tax purposes and for other purposes. So in a way, Bitcoin was a good candidate. Not just Bitcoin, there are Litecoin, and there are many others. Quite a lot, more than 100 different cryptocurrencies are available. But at the same time, with the changes in the global politics, particularly with the last U.S. president, there has been a new shift because there has been changes globally happening in terms of which currency to use for international trade. Because the currencies are also under regulation, and it was a debate. That's what I think we were predicting what is going to happen. Already in yesterday's news report, at least in Europe and China, China has taken over the market in Europe, pushing US aside, and that gives you the trade is moving towards the east, and that's where the Bitcoin issue has become more prominent, I would say. But at the same time, money is technically, if you think about money, is nothing but a trust. As long as people trust a government or a money, that means they have a more trust in. The reason dollar has been used as an international currency because people had trust in the United States for their transparency, for their accountability, for many others. But if you look carefully in the last 2 years, but last year particularly, after the COVID pandemic, something has happened. US Treasury has almost printed 30% additional money. That has never happened in the United States for the last, in the history. So when they're printing huge amount of money, it basically means the currency world is now looking for alternative. And that is where this Bitcoin has gained currency in the West compared to even ours. I would say ours, we are still skeptical. But in the West, one of the reasons has happened. But at the same time, another accident happens, and that we should carefully look into, is that let's say that you trust it. Remember, it's all based on blockchain technology.
On blockchain, yes.
And if someone dies with a password, what happens to the money? That's an interesting concept, because you are pushing money into a blockchain on a trust, basing on a trust on certain number of people, certain institutions. So there is still now coming back a regulatory requirement or institutional requirement, because if it's an individual dies and his password goes with him. So you say it's a very difficult one, because how do you get the money back? Because he is one of them. So I think that's where right now the issue is, and the way I look into it, the issue is turning back to institutions. They say, can we create institutions? Now the question is, if you want to make an institution, is it a national institution or is it a global institution? That's where the debate is going to happen.
Well, it's difficult to know, really, because, if somebody dies with the password with blockchain, I mean, it opens up a whole Pandora box, what you're talking about. And also your idea about like a regulatory body on the global level or whatever, these people that mine Bitcoin, they're really not attuned to that type of regulation, but you could see how that would be a difficult problem. And also too, like when I come to Dhaka next time, or if you come to Ontario, Canada the next time, how soon would it be before we take out our digital wallet and pay for things in Bitcoin? It's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, I would say that what has happening right now, the way I look at digital currency and Bitcoin probably are not the same thing. Okay. The reason why blockchain-based digital currency is already here, China has moved into digital currency, and by next year they're going to remove all the paper currencies. Now, if you look at and this is where the cryptocurrencies and Bitcoins and digital currency we should differentiate. If you move into paper or coin moved into paper, now paper is moving into crypto, into not a crypto, in blockchain-based digital currency, that is going to happen. And the reason once it goes to move digital, it will be doing exactly the same thing as people have been doing with with the Bitcoin. What will happen? Because a lot of time it will be regulation will be there, but you can exchange it. It's very difficult to find out without the password who has the money. So this whole idea of money will be actually, I would say, going to change with the digital currency, and countries will be eventually move into that. I think there is no choice, because that's my feeling is that regulatory central banks around the world is probably going to work on digital currency. So yes, in the next 5 to 10 years, many countries are going to move into digital currency. However, but however, cryptocurrency, which is originally started with the idea that nobody is regulating, and I agree with you, that is what they started with. The biggest problem is that How do you replace that dead person? This has already happened. Somebody died with
I heard it. Yeah.
120,000 Bitcoins. Remember, each Bitcoin worth of $40,000 plus right now. So if you have one Bitcoin $40,000 plus, and somebody has an asset of 120,000 Bitcoin, and it died, nobody can unlock it. So that kind of a vacuum creation. That's where the issue of regulation, I'm thinking. My own feeling is that there will be some regulatory frame eventually that will come into place.
You know, it's even remarkable. It's even remarkable we're even talking about this. You know, compared to when you and I met, you know, which was before the internet, you know, you know, but it shows you how things are changing. And, you know, now specifically in the developing economies, I think this might become more of a thing. And there might be more resistance in the developed world, but who knows? But it's certainly something that is top of mind, especially with the values that one Bitcoin is worth now, as well as all the other currencies. Now, you mentioned China, like you buy most things there using WeChat, don't you?
Yes, remember the digital currency and WeChat, and that's what I was going to come in. That there's a conceptual issue should be clear. Now, digital currency, remember what is a currency? I give you $1, you take $1. There's nobody takes a commission. But if I give you $1 and somebody takes 2 cents out of it, you never get $1, you get 98 cents, which basically means somebody in between is taking a commission. Money means there is no commission during the exchange. So the digital currencies are basically designed for that, to remove that. So I talked about WeChat, which has, or Alipay. Remember, all these are Chinese creation. We had in Bangladesh also similar digital wallets, but the digital wallets and digital money should be separated. Digital money is like a replacement of a dollar to a dollar, taka to a taka. So if you give me 100 taka, I get 100 taka. But when you give me 100 taka in my wallet and I don't get 100 taka, or you have to pay for the charges, transfer charges, to me, that is not the currency. So I think currency concept should be modified, and we should realize currency is a currency. I can exchange it without commission.
Yeah,
and that is going to happen.
Yeah, it is what it is. But right now we have Bitcoin worth X amount of money with Elon Musk investing all this. So, you know, it is what it is. There's a lot to this for sure. And you know, in future episodes of East West, I'm sure we'll be exploring it. But it's incredibly interesting to me, and I certainly don't understand it all. But it's certainly incredibly an interesting concept.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Enamul.
Please subscribe to this channel to receive updates on new videos.